Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It's very easy nowadays, more than, I don't know, 10 years ago, to see the way the mass media functions and to see how our beautiful elected officials are coming in front of us and show accountability of their actions or lack of. Why? Because a lot of things happened from in the past 10 years. The government became more like, you know what, I'm in charge and you can't do anything about it. You just go to work, take care of your stuff, and we tell you what to do because we know best. That's why we're here. And the mass media, unfortunately, has been for some time, I don't know, 70 years, 60 years, over a certain kind of, or behind the mass media is the monopoly of certain kind of institutions, and the mass media will parrot a narrative or will form a narrative according to the interests of those. That's my assessment of this. Some people can have obviously a different assessment, but it's easy to see it when you see only one side of the story promoted and the other side ignored. Now that's not news, that is propaganda. That means they try to shape your mind in a certain way. The example that I'm going to use today is the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines sabotage, revealed, or if not revealed, at least reported by a Pulitzer Prize winner, American journalist, the one who uncovered the My Lai or My Li massacre by the American Army in Vietnam, I think in 1969. So he's not an idiot, let's put it this way. But things change. Sometimes you become, you start saying certain things that, they're not allowed to be said. Now, I don't know if his report regarding claiming that he's got a source telling him that the U.S. blew up the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines and all that. That's been covered, I know, intensively. I also did, I think, two videos on some articles. But now is new revelation, and that is the Americans tried to blow up more than just 6 explosives that they planted out of 8. So they had 8 planted, but only 6 blew up, whatever was necessary. And it was kind of obvious because if you remember, there were out of 4 pipelines, Nord Stream 1 had 2, Nord Stream 2 had 2, 3 out of 4 were damaged. And I asked the question whenever that happened, why wasn't it necessary for the 4th one? Was it sloppiness? Was it lack of coordination, no desire, no need? And I thought it was just a poor, how should I put it, poor mission. It was not really, it was unsuccessful, let's put it this way. I think they wanted to do it, but they couldn't. The problem is, that means those explosives are still there or were there when the investigators from Denmark and Sweden dove in and found it. Therefore, they could have had 100% evidence that there's explosive over there, and maybe possibly could find out what kind of explosive that was. So let's see what these guys are saying in an interview, obviously not with American news outlets, because this is what I'm trying to say. The Americans are somehow, American mass media is somehow not really interested in finding out what happened. That's why the mass media is as it is. So he had an interview with German newspaper Berliner Zeitung, not with CNN or MSNBC or the most trusted names in the business. So, and this is obviously reported by Sputnik, who has an interest to show up who the hell did it. And Denmark's and Sweden's silence about the matter tells volumes about, or speaks volumes about this. So it says here, just to sum up, what are we talking about here? On September 26th, the Nord Stream AG operator registered a rapid gas pressure drop on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Nord Stream 1 followed soon after. Sweden and Denmark said that they had detected underwater blasts in the area. The operator already called the damage to the system unprecedented. Now all this is, nobody debates this, nobody challenges this. Now Seymour Hersh, this is the seasoned Pulitzer Prize winner, however we want to call him, investigative journalist. That's how he, right here. You have to say that so you build trust, right? Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalist. But I don't know. He was, let's see what this guy is saying anyway. So he says that only 6 out of 8 bombs planted under Nord Stream pipelines were detonated, according to this guy. So 6 out of 8. So probably 2 were planted on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and they didn't, one of the 2 Nord Stream pipelines, and didn't detonate. Pulitzer Prize winning investigative journalist Seymour Hersh said on Tuesday that only 6 out of 8 bombs planted under the Nord Stream pipelines went off as US President Joe Biden postponed the special operation and the bombs were under water for too long. Last week, Hersh published a report saying that the US Navy divers during NATO BALTOPS exercises in the summer of 2022 planted explosives to destroy the Nord Stream pipelines, which Norway activated 3 months later. According to the report, Biden decided to sabotage the Nord Streams after more than 9 months of secret discussions with the national security system. I read an article before I made this video stating that, which was obvious. I mean, it was, if you remember, just because this sabotage, whomever did it, the Americans, according to that article, I think it's accurate, makes an accurate assessment, is because the Germans started talking about maybe we can still activate the Nord Stream 2, the pipelines, and Nord Stream 1 for gas for this winter. So they were, the opposition party, one specifically, was, talking about this. And then probably this American says, you know what, let's stop the conversation right here and let's make this decision. Because the Germans, they did everything that they were told to, which is stop getting gas, impose sanctions, don't use Nord Stream 2, never opened, don't open it. Americans, remember what they said, we will stop it, remember Biden. So I think when the US government realized that there are some voices, and that's a possibility, that the Germans might say, okay, winter's coming, let's lift some sanctions and allow Nord Stream 2 and to function. Nord Stream 1, if you remember, it was closed, or it worked at 10% capacity due to those turbines and so on. So then they say, you know what, let's do it, and that's no more talk about it. But we're going to talk about something else. We figured it out. We have our weasels there. Boom. All right, let's go here. Let's see what else Mr. Seymour Hersh says. And I'm quoting, It was the story I wanted to tell at the end of September 2022. 8 bombs were to be blown up off the island of Bornholm in the Baltic Sea, and 6 of them exploded, Hersh said in an interview with German newspaper Berliner Zeitung, citing an unnamed source. He added that the 2 bombs did not explode as they spent too much time underwater because Biden postponed the special operation on the destruction of the pipelines. Well, maybe he was sleeping too much, he was too tired. The journalist said that Biden did not have an elaborate plan for the blowing up of pipelines during the maritime meeting. It was because they had a meeting over there with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in February 2022. And I'm quoting, "We Americans did not have a plan worked out at the time, but we knew we had an opportunity to implement it," end quote, Hersh said, referring to January, February 2022. I remember when Olaf Scholz, the Chancellor of Germany, came to Washington, D.C., and he was asked about 9 questions or 8 questions about the same the same issue. What about Nord Stream? What about Nord Stream? What about Nord Stream? And the guy was just trying to avoid the questions. But somehow the American news media outlet was fixated on that one. But right now you don't hear it being fixated on this title. It's just that's as I said, news and entertainment 101. So he said it was clear to the White House team they could blow up the pipelines using an incredibly powerful explosive called C4, adding that the detonation could be controlled remotely by underwater hydroacoustic instruments. What the hell acoustic they're hearing? In early January, according to Hersh, the option was reported to the White House, and 2 or 3 weeks later, U.S. Undersecretary of State of Political Affairs Victoria Nuland, she's this person is everywhere, herself said that Washington could do it. Now, Victoria Nuland, she was involved in, I think she came very, very famous or infamous 2013 when she was recorded the conversation between Victoria and then U.S. ambassador to Ukraine was recorded, and then you can still hear it, I think, on YouTube nowadays, about who the Americans think the proper leader could be after the legitimate government of Viktor Yanukovych in Ukraine could be toppled. And the ambassador was concerned about the Europeans. What would the Europeans said? And she said, F the Europeans. So, yeah, okay, now you know. And it was in 2013. So if that was the attitude then, what do you think is the attitude right now? They don't even say anything about it. The operation was top secret, and the president should not have told anyone about the U.S. capabilities, but, and I'm quoting, he likes to talk and sometimes says things he should not say, end quote. Hersh told the media, adding that Scholz at the time found nothing to object to and expressed himself very vaguely. And I'm quoting, I think the reason for this decision was that the war was not going well for the West and they were afraid of the coming winter. Nord Stream 2 was suspended by Germany itself at the pressure of the United States, not by international sanctions. And the US feared that Germany would lift the sanctions because of the cold winter. Oh, this guy says the same thing here. Hersh said, claiming that, and I'm quoting, Biden decided to let the Germans freeze this winter. The president of the United States would rather have Germany frozen than the Germany possibly stops supporting Ukraine, end quote. Yes. Probably you didn't, that's a fact. You don't know sometimes. I don't know how, I know some people don't even think of how far some other people could go with certain kind of things. The U.S. government has repeatedly denied involvement in the blowing up of the Russian pipelines, while the Russian government has said the United States should explain itself and an open investigation into the blast needs to be undertaken. Now, on September 26, 2022, 3 of the 4 strings of the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 gas pipelines were damaged after an underwater blast. Well, the thing, I didn't expect anything from Denmark. When I saw Denmark, I said, Denmark, no, because if you remember, Denmark allowed the American NSA to get into Europe to start tapping on certain kind of politicians and so on. So I said Denmark is just a bridgehead for the United States, and no. And then Sweden, I said Sweden probably needs to come to NATO, so to say I'm a NATO member, we had to drag it in. Probably the conversations were way before this happened. Therefore, I said, you know what, let that happen over there because Sweden will beg us for NATO, therefore they're going to do their thing. If they say something, no NATO for them, and we'll let them like that and going to be attacked by the Russians yesterday. So that's how the story goes. As I said, revealing is the silence here about all this. Why? Because the US government said that's a lie, and whoever talks about it, that's a lie. So that means the mass media said, well, if they said so, that must be true. Because the governments don't lie, especially the United States of America. Never lied before, don't lie, and will never lie in the future. Yeah, okay, well, if you live by that kind of worldview, then as I always say, give me about, I don't know, $20,000 by tomorrow. I will give you back with 3,000% interest, and we will meet tomorrow, believe me. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.